The hydrological cycle, also known as the water cycle, is the continuous movement of water on, above, and below the surface of the earth. It's a natural process that recycles water and ensures that it is always available in different forms, such as liquid, vapor, and ice. How the hydrological cycle works. Evaporation and transpiration. Evaporation is when the sun heats up water from oceans, lakes, rivers, and even puddles, causing it to turn into water vapor and rise into the air. Transpiration is similar, but it happens in plants. Plants absorb water from the soil through their roots and then release it as water vapor from their leaves. Condensation. As water vapor rises, it cools down in the atmosphere. When it cools enough, it turns back into tiny droplets of liquid water through a process called condensation. These droplets come together to form clouds. The more water vapor condenses, the bigger and heavier the clouds become. Precipitation. When clouds become too heavy with water droplets, the water falls back to Earth as precipitation. This can be in the form of rain, snow, sleet, or hail, depending on the temperature. Precipitation is the main way that water returns from the atmosphere to the Earth's surface. Infiltration and runoff. After precipitation, some of the water infiltrates, sinks into the ground. This water seeps through the soil and rocks, filling up underground reservoirs known as aquifers. The rest of the water that doesn't sink into the ground flows over the surface as runoff, moving towards rivers, lakes, and eventually the ocean. Groundwater flow. The water that infiltrates the ground doesn't stay there forever. Over time, it moves slowly through the soil and rock layers in a process called groundwater flow. This underground water eventually makes its way to rivers, lakes, and oceans, where it will evaporate again, starting the cycle all over. Storage. Some water is temporarily stored on the surface in lakes, rivers, glaciers, and ice caps, or underground in aquifers. This stored water is part of the cycle too, though it might stay in these places for years, decades, or even longer before moving on. The hydrological cycle is continuous. There's no beginning or end. Water is constantly moving between different parts of the Earth's system. The atmosphere, as vapor and clouds, the surface, as lakes, rivers, and oceans, and below the ground, as groundwater. The cycle ensures that water is constantly recycled and redistributed, making it available for drinking, agriculture, industry, and ecosystems. The movement of water through the cycle helps regulate the Earth's temperature and climate. For example, evaporation cools the Earth's surface, while condensation releases heat into the atmosphere. The cycle maintains balance in ecosystems, supporting plant and animal life by ensuring that water is distributed across the planet. Understanding the hydrological cycle helps us appreciate how vital water is to life on Earth and why it's important to protect and manage our water resources. Without this cycle, we wouldn't have the fresh water we need to survive.